What do you learn from the bad trip? People say um, when in the world of psychedelic drugs, the bad trips are the best because they teach you the most. People say that to make themselves feel better, but really everybody wants to have a good trip. Nobody likes the bad trips, but they teach you the most. That's what they say. So, what do they teach you? Could be a lot of different things. I've dealt with anxiety, having anxiety attacks and panic attacks, and a lot of times I have them at the worst time, at the exact moment when I shouldn't be having them, is when they happen. And then you start to be afraid of having them, so you become afraid of the fear, and it becomes a self perpetuating thing. So, what do you learn from the bad trips? Spending time with this guy at this party, and he looked at me and he said, "Are you tripping right now?" And I said, "My life is the trip. That's the bitch of it. My life is the trip. Your life is the trip. We're always tripping. This whole life is one big trip that you're on." And if you don't believe me, think about how much pain you have and confusion. You're on a bad trip. What do you do when you're on a bad trip? How can you apply that same logic that people use when talking about psychedelics to your life? The bad trip is the best because it teaches you the most, but nobody wants to have it. The negative experiences in life are the most important because they teach you the most. But does everybody want to have negative experiences? No. But what it comes down to is, what is your attitude toward it? Eventually, I stopped having anxiety attacks, and it was partly because I simply got tired of maintaining the story in my head that was driving it about fear, what could happen. Eventually, you just stop because you give up and you say, "I'm tired of doing this. Like, I'm tired of running on a hamster wheel. Whatever is going to happen is going to happen. I don't care anymore. I don't care." Everything you're experiencing in your life is part of this trip that we're all on. You don't have to understand it or like it, but the minute you start to say, "I shouldn't be having this, I don't want this experience, please make it go away, please make it stop," you're playing the fool because it won't stop. Life goes on. And in point of fact, when people get to the end of their life, having led a very fearful life, not taking a lot of risks, they may feel a lot of regret. But at the time, when they were going through it, they just thought, I'm afraid, I'm scared. So you can see the analogies to the psychedelic experience are there. Somebody has a psychedelic trip, and at the time they're thinking, I don't like this, make it stop, make it stop, make it stop, make it stop. Then when they come down from it, they think, I just wasted all that money on that something that I didn't even enjoy. But then the other thing is, you weren't there for it. Whatever the experience had to provide for you, you decided that it wasn't acceptable, and you were not there for it. You did waste your time and money. And that's life too. This trip that we're on, if we spend our whole lives trying to say, I want it to stop, make it go away. I don't like this, it's uncomfortable, make it stop, go away, stop. We may stay safe, but we will have wasted everything because we didn't see what was there. We didn't experience it. So when you're talking about the trip, the life is the trip. Think of it like a drug trip, if you're into that sort of thing. But if you're not, think of it this way. Do you want to get to the end of your life and feel suddenly like you never lived because you weren't there for your own life? Because you were too afraid. Wow. Is the problem the content of the experience and the fact that you're not enjoying it and it needs to be better? I want to have a good trip. Give me a good trip. Everybody says that. I want to have a good trip. There's good trips, there's bad trips. No. Wrong. Wrong. There is the trip. And it's all in your attitude towards it, your ability to take in what's there and accept it and experience it for what it is. If I have a thought that comes in my head that says, I'm in danger, I'm afraid, I'm scared, I'm scared my head is going to swell up and explode. People that are on drugs have these weird feelings of fear. Sometimes that's what a bad trip is. I'm afraid of something irrational. Terrifying. Oh my God, what a bad trip. Oh, I wish I wasn't having this experience. But what if you could see how ridiculous it is to be afraid of something like that? And then you would see it's funny. It's terribly funny to be afraid of something like that, because that could never happen. Your head's not going to swell up and explode like a balloon. And then it's very funny. What if our fears about life are the same? What if there's no danger at all? And constantly being hung up on danger is preventing us from seeing what's there, good or bad, from taking the trip. And if you could just take the trip for what it was, And I see it like an experience, like a drug experience, with a beginning and an end. And I want to be there for it because I don't want to waste my money that I just